Alright, now I'm sure some of you have already seen the videos where they have found the location of the ancient Tower of Babel. So if you look above Maine, maybe a couple hundred miles directly above Maine, you can see this massive circle that is man-made. And according to the ancient scriptures, I believe it's the book of Joshua or Asher or something, it was a 3 days journey around the massive tower, which is exactly this distance around this, I don't know, flat water pool. So if some of you want to know the ancient territory of Babylon, Babylon the Great, this would be it right here. The severe judgments on Babylon line up with this territory. See this? This is uninhabitable wasteland. The scriptures say it will be like a desert wasteland from generation to generation during the millennial reign. And that's exactly what this territory looks like. If you zoom in on some of these regions, I mean, it is a desert wasteland with swampland with all these little water puddles, and it's the kind of land that you'd probably like sink in, mud if you tried to walk through it. There are little roads over in this territory and small villages, but as far as this region right here, I can't seem to find anything. Now I will say maybe 2,000 years ago this area could have been an economic center for all we know. This looks like a great area for, merchants to come in on their ships and unload and, trade and on and on. Now, what is hilarious about some of these regions that got severe judgment, they actually call them national parks. Like if you zoom in on this, it is a desert-like wasteland, swampy land, and it is completely uninhabitable, just like the scriptures say on some of the territories of Babylon, the severe judgment. Alright, let's take a look at the incredible round circle where the 35-mile diameter tower would have stood. My green dots right here, if you were to remove some of this land, it would be a perfect circle. And as some of you know, the ancient scriptures say it was a 3 days journey around the massive tower. Alright, so let's take a look at how the Tower of Babel would have been constructed. Now, you have to understand Nimrod was not a dummy. He probably was surrounded by intelligent people, and they would have built the most practical, efficient tower. And I'm going to say that it would have looked like a massive silo without a top covering it. They just built straight up in a round circle. So if you go to Google and type in hollow tower and start looking around, you could see examples of what they were trying to achieve. So if you've ever seen a railroad where the ties stick out the side, this is for, years ago they had like telephone wires and all this. This is most likely what the tower would have looked like. They would have had walkways on the inside and the outside while they are building directly up. They may have had hoists, levees, ropes to, pull bricks thousands of feet up in the air, and they would have tried to make it as efficient as possible. See, this is a great example. Imagine walkways on the inside and the outside walls going up while they build directly up. And I do believe what they were trying to accomplish would look like a silo without a top covering it. Right? You're not going to put a top over a 36 or 35 mile diameter structure. Not going to happen. But you can see it was a clever design to try to reach heaven. I do believe, I don't know if Nimrod got inside knowledge from fallen angels or whatever. He may have believed heaven was 200 or 300 miles above the earth. And that's why they built a tower at 35, 36 miles from one end to the other, because they needed to build at least 200 miles up. Now I do have to let you all know, some of these knowledge channels, they are confused. These are the mountains inside of the massive circle. What I'm trying to tell you, this is not the Tower of Babel. You understand? The tower is the round circle where you see the water. That was the footing. These mountains, these were here before the tower was constructed, and they are standing after the tower is removed. This is not a 3 days journey around this mountain. This is not the Tower of Babel. This is simply a mountain range and rocks that were inside of the massive circle. Now, I do have to let you know, I do applaud this channel, this UB TV. It's got 52,000 subscribers. This is the video. It has 45,000 views. He figured out this knowledge all the way back in 2019. So I do applaud this guy. But I think even he is confused about the Tower of Babel. All right. The round circle of water, that is where the tower stood. It was not on the inside. Read the scriptures of, is it Joshua or Asher or something? It was a 3 days journey around the massive tower. Now, I do have some mind-blowing knowledge. See, I have looked at the maps all the way around the territory of Babylon, and there's only one area. Remember, the scriptures say, or the book of Revelation says, that the King of Heaven is going to split that great city Babylon into 3 sections. The severe judgment, the burning. Babylon, that great city Babylon, where the merchants of the earth stood afar off and watched her torment and burn and all this. There's only one area on a map where a great city in the territory of Babylon is split into 3 sections. Are you all ready for this? Hang on. Here it is right here. If you look at New York City, it is split into 3 sections. You have 1, then you have 2, and then you have 3. Y'all see this? What I'm trying to tell you is 1,400 years ago, I don't know if it's a clone of Nimrod or the King of Heaven resurrected Nimrod to be the Antichrist or whatever, but this was the great city Babylon where I guess his throne stood. And see, what you have to understand, the illuminated group, they always put real truth right out in the open. Very few people will ever stumble upon or accept the real truth. Why is New York called Babylon? Well, that's because 1,400 years ago, it was Babylon the Great, that great city Babylon, because it is in the territory of ancient Babylon. Always remember, the illuminated group always puts real truth right out in the open. They deliberately named this big round circle the Lewis Babel Ecological Reserve. I mean, they are putting truth right out in the open. This is where the massive silo of bricks, billions and billions of bricks, millions of people were involved in this massive tower, and they actually built 1.5 miles or 1.6 miles up in the air. You are talking incredible achievement what these crazy, heaven-hating psychos were doing. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to try to add a link onto the end of the video, that white box that you can click on, so that you can go to the UB TV channel, watch his video, and you will totally understand this is the territory of Babylon the Great. Severe judgment happened. That round circle is where this massive tower stood, maybe 2,000 years ago or however long ago it was. But if anyone has any good knowledge or anything to add to the video, just leave a comment under the video.